And I just love looking at wet ink and watching it slowly dry. Welcome to the Messy Desk. In the previous video, we looked at day 1 to 10 of the 2019 Diamine Inkvent calendar. And now in this video, we'll look at the rest of the days, day 11 to 25. Now on to day 11. That's a very colorful page. Let's skip the page. Okay, day 11, Elf. This is another green, and at least comparing the two swatches I have here, this is much less yellow and more green compared to the earlier mistletoe. I like the elf better. I'm not so much a fan of yellow greens, prefer it to have it more vibrant. Speaking of which, I'm really interested to see what kind of inks they have in this year's calendar. I don't think any reviews are out yet, but probably they would be in a few days, since I saw some of my international friends have already received their boxes. Still waiting on mine, not sure how long it'll take. I ordered it with a local retailer. I'm guessing at least a couple more weeks out. I'll definitely like to do a video where I guess the colors of the inks that is in this year's calendar. So I guess some of the colors, like if there's something similar to like candy cane, that will be really obvious, since candy canes are typically red or white. But if it's something like Winter Miracle, who knows what kind of color it will be, right? Could be anything. So this is Elf. Forgot to mention the Elf is a standard ink, no sheen or shimmer there. Next we have Noel, is sheen ink. Again, some kind of a color difference. It looks more red on the label, more brown purplish, and more red here, almost like a dark orange on my swatch. But again, this was done 2 years ago. Could be some kind of color difference due to the age. So it's interesting to see what it looks like now. And you can see it's like a green, yellow green kind of a sheen. So when I started out in this pen hobby, I thought that shimmer inks are really cool. I mean, they still are, and I still love them, but I found them quite a chore because I clogged up a number of my pens, and you got to make sure that you can agitate them. If not, the shimmer particles doesn't come out and stuff like that. Oh, this is a much nicer color. It's like a deep, kind of like a wine red. Oh, that looks much nicer than the swatch over there. I guess it's like a age deterioration. Yeah, I'm quite liking this color now that I've actually swatched it out again. It's a nice deep wine red. I can see me putting that into some pens. Reminds me a little bit like of Yamabudo, but also more subdued, not as bright and glaring. Okay, next up, quite interesting, we have mulled wine. So just when I was saying Noel looks like a wine color, actually, these two swatches, they look really, really similar. Let's see how this looks like when I swatch it anew. Okay, right at this stage, when it's still wet, I'll say that this mulled wine has a tinge of orange in it. Let's see how it looks like when it's dry. So these are not archival inks, and that's why the pigment will break down and deteriorate as it ages. If you want archival ink or light fast ink, then you need to get ink that are rated as such. Diamine has their own like archival registrar inks. There's a bunch of document inks by the Atramentus. Those are also archival. Okay, day 14. This is like the polar glow but on steroids. Okay, so blue with red sheen. So all that red you're seeing over there, that's the red sheen, but we have blue shimmer. So blue ink with blue shimmer particles and red sheen. This is like the earlier Polar Glow on steroids, and I love this. As troublesome as shimmer inks are, and yes, I bought a bottle of these, but I've not inked up any pen with it yet, and I'm not sure if I will. I just hoard too many inks, but love it, love it, love it. Again, blue shimmer, that's kind of something cool. It's not your typical, you know, silver and gold shimmer, so I love that. And sheening inks, I love that too. Again, it's not one of those overly sheening kind of properties where it never ever dries. So I appreciate that, especially here in the very humid Singapore. And my hands are forever just a little sweaty because it's just so hot here. And if it's organic studios nitrogen, one touch, one slight touch, and that's it. I'm like a smurf for the rest of the day. So yeah, now I've come to appreciate inks that are sheening simply because they are a bit less troublesome compared to the shimmer inks. I can put them in pretty much any pen compared to shimmer inks where I've got to make sure that it doesn't clog and so on and so forth. And sometimes you really don't know until you put it in and the pen clogs and you're like, oops, okay, I guess I need to change ink and clean it out whatsoever. It's such a chore, and I'm a lazy person. So, okay, forgot to shake this. Just want to make sure that we get a nice dip of all the shimmer. After my shimmer ink loving phase, I gravitated towards sheening inks, and just nice. Sheening inks was starting to become a thing then. So that was what I got into, and after that, I realized that some sheen inks are not as nice to use because I get a palm full of whatever color it was. Didn't like it that much anymore. I still love all the sheening inks that don't overdo things and stain me forever and ever. But some inks like Organic Studios Nitrogen, I just kind of don't really use them anymore. Or if not, I have to be super duper careful when using them. So what I did for a time is I would write it on, since I'm a right-hander, I'll write it on the right-hand side of the page because I don't really go back and read my journals. So once I finish writing, I'll flip it over and I'll never ever be on that page again and won't dirty my hands. Whereas if I use it on the left-hand sided page, my left hand would go on the writing as I'm writing on the right-handed page, and my left hand would be the one that's dyed into a smurf. So that was a little trick that I did. And let's move on. Day 15, Festive Cheer. So this looks like a sheening ink to me. Indeed, it's labeled as such. So it looks like a purplish blue. Again, might be a 2 years ago Swatch thing, because on the label it's pretty just like a normal blue, and I can see a reddish sheen to it. Let's see. The other good thing about sheening inks is that you don't need to shake because there's no particles inside. So this is Festive Cheer. I like that color. It's still a purple blue to me at this stage, but it's quite vibrant. Reminds me a tiny little bit of Base Slate Blue, although this is more purple than Base Slate Blue, obviously, but royal purple with more blue. Yeah, I like that color. Like it a lot. Let's take a look at day 16. Ooh, Season's Greetings. It's a sheening ink and it's quite obvious, the sheen, if you can see here. Yep, it's a dark blue-green with red sheen. The blue-green color reminds me of Noodles 54 Massachusetts, but Massachusetts doesn't sheen like this, so it's a nice color. I wouldn't personally really use it that much, but I can see it being used. You could use it for work. Oh no, I've got water everywhere. You could use it for work, and people won't really notice that it's not really a black, but actually like a very dark green. So that's what's nice about this ink. I think it's pretty work friendly. Alas, I don't write much at work at all, much less use fountain pens at work, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I also forgot to put my little writing board. I do love this Hobonichi writing board, pencil board. I buy it every year and even put it in my other notebooks. It's pretty soft and flexible and provides a nice writing background. So especially with these Tome River paper, it's so thin that if you use a little bit more forced writing, you leave an indent in the next page. So this is really nice to prevent that, but yet at the same time, it's not too plasticky and you don't feel like you're writing and on glass and just going over everything without control. So love it. Personally, I would recommend it if you are buying anything from the Hobonichi website. It's not that expensive too, just a few dollars. So it's pretty worth it all money. And also I keep dripping water everywhere. I'll say that this color looks a bit more attractive now and less dull compared to this swatch. I guess also all the lines left behind by the cotton bud. I use a cotton bud for all these swatches. Makes it a little less attractive than using this thick calligraphy nib. Okay, we have yet another red. Poncetia? No, I can't pronounce this. But anyway, it's a standard red ink. It's kind of like a red with a little bit of purple. It's a very nice vibrant red. At least from the swatch, it's quite hard to tell. It looks pretty similar to Noel, but whereas mulled wine has a lot more purple to it and it's a little less saturated and less vibrant, but we'll see how it looks with a fresh swatch. This is a vibrant red. Okay, day 18. So this is another interesting one. It's holy and it's a sheening ink. So green with red sheen. So the typical sheening inks are blue with red sheen. And at least 2 years ago, there were less of these other colors with sheen or like a different color sheen. So again, I was very happy to see Diamine doing these new innovative inks. I like how this sheen looks quite like a matte ash kind of look to it. It's very nice. The green base, however, reminds me a lot of the elf, but at least comparing these two swatches, it's actually pretty different. Again, this is darker than this, and I like darker inks a little bit more, so liking the holy. The sheen makes it interesting as well. Oh yeah, it's a very nice color. Now for day 19, Gingerbread is a standard ink, but there's quite a bit of shading. If you lay a lot of ink down, it looks even a little black. It's an interesting mid to light brown, but I would say I'm not super a fan of it just because I don't really like browns and it's a bit on the lighter side for me. It's definitely readable, but just personal preference. Not that much a fan of browns, and this is like a yellow brown, I would say. Looks pretty yellowish to me. So day 20, midnight hour. This is like a blue black. This swatch here reminds me of Pilot Blue Black, but with a reddish sheen. This is pretty different enough from the typical blue with red sheen that is instantly identifiable because it's way darker than usual. With these kind of blue black inks, you could sneakily use it at work and people think you just have a regular ink. But again, I think the color is a bit different after 2 years. Let's see. It looks a lot more vibrant in the bottle. But writing it out looks pretty dark as well. I suppose it's midnight hour after all. Doesn't look as dark. Kind of looks way more purple than this swatch. So again, the color definitely changed after like 2 years. But looks more like a dark purple blue in the fresh swatch. Day 21, we have Fire Embers. So this is our standard ink, no sheen and no shimmer. Fire Embers is a nice mix of orange and red. It's leaning more towards red, but has nice orangey vibes to it. You know, if you're looking for something that's leaning a little bit orangey, but you still want it to be very readable, I'll say that this is a good choice. Okay, day 22. Solstice. This is a shimmer. Can you see it? It's a green shimmer and black with green shimmer, so it's nice and a subtle touch. You know, black could be a boring color for some people, and here you can see there's some green shimmer at the bottom. Let's give it a good shake. So I think it's nice that they mix up. It's not really a true black either, more like a really dark brown that's almost black. I gotta say that I quite like enjoying myself doing these swatches. It's like a very zen kind of activity. Plus, it makes the inks really show up very beautifully. Would love to do this on like different paper to see how inks look different. And I just love looking at wet ink and watching it slowly dry. You know, when it's wet, you have the shimmer, it's shiny rather from the wet liquid. I love that, and that is part of my enjoyment when I write with fountain pens. Perhaps that's also why I love a really wet and broad and juicy nib. Okay, almost done. So day 23, we have roasted chestnut. It's a standard ink, brown, with some nice bits of shading, even though you won't get something really black like here with just regular writing. But I think that there's still a good bit of shading going on there. Think I'm getting the hang of using this broad nib. Basically, you just have to dip more, I guess. If not, the ink doesn't really come out. Okay, second last day, 24th, purple bowl. So this is, it says that it's a standard ink, but if you push it and put like a huge blob, I do see some sheen. Maybe it's once again, depending on the paper you're using and all, but I do see a little bit of shine here, kind of yellowish shine. Maybe even here, although it's quite hard to show on camera, but might be something that you don't observe at all when you are writing, unless you really put a huge blob onto the paper. But oh, look at that. Can you see? It looks like a blue when it's in the bottle. I'm liking that color. I like blues more than purple, so. Okay, and finally, Christmas Day, we have Happy Holidays. So, as you can see, it's very obvious that it's a blue ink with green shimmer particles, and there's also sheen. So, it's a blue ink with red sheen, and they add shimmer particles to it. And it is in this big bottle over here. You can see the bottle, there's like some sheening stuff at the bottom. Maybe you can't really see the color, but actually from the side you can see the deposits of the green shimmer. This is a 30 ml ink, and they actually did not label whether it's a sheen or shimmer or standard ink, unlike their tiny vials. But as you can see from the swab, it is both a sheen and a shimmer. So gotta give it a good shake. Ooh, This is like the broadest nib I can use that can still fit into the bottles. Thankfully, they can fit inside. You can see it's pulling up on the paper. Okay, so that's all the 25 inks. I'll be back when the swabs are dry. And I just love looking at wet ink and watching it slowly dry. And I just love looking at wet ink and watching it slowly dry. There we have it. These are the 25 inks from the 2019 Advent Calendar, starting from Blue Peppermint. We have Candy Cane, Snowstorm, Polar Glow, Triple Chocolate. Then Ho Ho Ho, Mistletoe, Gold Star, Nutcracker, Winter Miracle. The Elf, Noel, Mulled Wine, Jack Frost, Festive Cheer, Season's Greetings, Poncetia, Holy, Gingerbread, Midnight Hour, and the last five, Fire Embers, Solstice, Roasted Chestnuts, Purple Bowl, and Happy Holidays. Just look at that sheen and the shimmer of Happy Holidays. No doubt that's my favorite ink of the set. I definitely have a huge bottle of that. And yeah, it is a bit hard to use because there's shimmer, so you have to make sure that your pen is shimmer friendly, so to speak, doesn't clog up the feed and everything. But this is definitely my top favorite. I just love how there's so much shimmer. It almost covers up the sheen, especially when you look at the writing. You can only see the shimmer, so it's really nice. Yep. So we'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed it, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you.